All right. Say, y'all ready to get down deep? Hello, y'all ready to get down deep?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
We want to get real.
We're going to talk about tolerance. Would anybody care to fill it into the holes in the front row? Yeah, that'd be really cool if I wasn't looking at a bunch of seats right in front of my face. That'd be one. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Do you want me closer? Or is this good?
Yeah, that's good. Can
I sit right next to you?
That's good.
Chris was next year. Cheryl.
So here we go, y'all.
Yeah, we can do that.
The Course in Miracles talks about if you're going to get to the point that you can recognize hello. We're
trying to get closer to you.
Hello. All right. The development of trust is talking about how you can tell the characteristics of a person that demonstrates love, and so that maybe we'll be able to recognize love and start choosing for love instead of choosing for fear, thinking that we're choosing for love. Because a lot of times we've chosen for fear and we think we've chosen for love. Or we've chosen for conflict and we think we've chosen for peace. So the purpose of the Course in Miracles is to teach us how to tell the difference from the beginning so that we can save ourselves a lot of pain and conflict. Is that a worthwhile goal?
Yes.
Okay. So the characteristics of a teacher of love is they're someone who has trust, honesty, tolerance, gentleness, joy, defenselessness, generosity, patience, faithfulness, and open-mindedness. Does that sound like anybody you've been hanging out with all the time? Okay, so I want to be worthy of attracting something like that to me by becoming it myself. So I need to find out what the characteristics of tolerance, which is the third quality. We talked about trust. We talked about honesty. Now we're going to talk about tolerance. And when it says God's teachers, the Course is talking about a demonstrator of love. So God is love, and a teacher is a demonstrator. God is love, and a teacher is a demonstrator. Would you mind closing that door for me? Thank you. I love it. It's going to be a good class today. I don't know when I've heard so many distractions at the beginning of the class. Yeah, just me either. It's like the energy is really frantic today. Yeah. Wow, we're on page 12 in the teacher's manual. Okay. All right. Now, it says, I'm going to read the paragraph. It says, God's teachers do not judge. To judge is to be dishonest. To judge is to assume a position that you do not have. Judgment without self-deception is impossible. Judgment implies that you have been deceived in your brothers. How then can you not have been deceived in yourself? Judgment implies a lack of trust, and trust remains the bedrock of the teacher of God's whole thought system. Let trust be lost, and all your learning goes. Without judgment are all things equally acceptable, for who could judge otherwise? Without judgment are all men brothers, for who is there who stands apart? So judgment destroys honesty, judgment shatters trust. No teacher of God can judge and hope to learn. Does that kind of explain our learning situation? It says if you are really demonstrating love, you don't judge. So you know immediately if somebody is demonstrating love to you, because if they're demonstrating love to you, they're not judging. One thing that was kind of depressing about, in a way, when I first started studying the Course in Miracles, was that before I could get to the point that I recognized love in my life and had love in my life, the lawnmower today too, right? It's just wild. I don't know when I've ever heard a lawnmower on Sunday afternoon here. This is good. I'm excited to see what's going to happen today. I mean, you know, it's like the disruptions abound with the lawnmower. You know? Okay, so that's good. Because what are we talking about? We're talking about judgment. What is it that most people do? Judge. So we're really talking about the thing that we do the most.
Right.
And the thing that we hold ourselves back with the most. So it would make sense that we would create any kind of thing we could come up with to keep from hearing about our favorite thing to do, which is to judge. So what I'm trying to do is learn how to recognize when love is in my life and when love is in front of me. That's the first thing. So the first thing to recognize is that if you're in the presence of somebody that's demonstrating love, if you're in the presence of somebody that's demonstrating love, they don't judge.
Right.
If you're judging, the Course says you're being dishonest. I had never thought about judgment being dishonest. So if you're judging, you're being dishonest. And the reason why you're being dishonest if you judge is because anybody that's judging is assuming a position that they don't have. I am not a judge. That is not my function. So it's dishonest because I'm doing something. It's like me impersonating a police officer. That's not what I am. So I'm being dishonest. So whenever a person judges, that is automatic dishonesty. That's automatic dishonesty. And so the Course says that judgment without deceiving yourself is impossible. So every time a person judges, a person is instantly being dishonest, and not only being dishonest, they're also deceiving themselves. Because number one, that's not a position that you have, and number two, you're deceiving yourself if you think that's the position that you have. So if I want to recognize from the very beginning when I am making a mistake of being dishonest or making a mistake of assuming a position I don't have, when I'm getting ready to deceive myself, it'll start off with judgment. So one of the things that I'm working on right now in my life more than anything is realizing I do not understand anything I see. The Course says that the first step to awakening is to say to yourself, you don't really understand anything you see. Now, the reason why you can say you don't understand anything you see, especially if you're not feeling good, especially if you're feeling conflict, then if you are feeling conflict, then you really don't see the truth, because anyone who truly sees the truth is not in conflict, is not experiencing a lack of peace. So the first thing I got to realize is that if I'm really seeing correctly, I feel peaceful. If I'm not seeing correctly, I feel conflict. For instance, and my sister gave me so many great lessons to teach after she made her transition last year. And one of the things that I realized after her transition was it was okay for me to feel grief, but there still wasn't any true reason for me not to feel peace. If I was seeing her transition called death correctly, according to the Course, I would feel peace about it. So that means I don't understand death, and I don't understand my sister's transition. That would be the way a Course student would look at it. They would go, okay, I'm not feeling peace in this situation. That doesn't mean I won't feel some grief and have to go through that. But if I'm seeing this correctly, there's nothing I could look at with the eyes of Christ, the eyes of love, the eyes of truth. There's nothing I could look at and feel conflict about. If I was really using love and really seeing through love and truth, I would know that the only thing that happened was that my sister laid down her body and her real self still exists. It just is no longer functioning through a body in this plane. Now, when I look at it that way, I feel peace. When I look at it as my sister was a body that was born to Joe and Georgia Purdy and grew up and died in a house fire, that feels not peaceful. So what I'm beginning to learn from the Course is that I'm always seeing it incorrectly when I don't feel peace. I don't care what it is. If I'm not looking at it with love, if I'm not looking at it with peace, then it means I don't understand it. So that's why when you're upset with somebody, it's the truth when you walk up and you go, I don't understand you. That is the truest thing you can say to them when you're upset. Yeah, you don't understand, because if you understood them, you wouldn't be mad. If you understood yourself, you wouldn't be upset with yourself. So you can say, I've been not understanding myself all day today. On those days you feel a lot of conflict and anger and upset. You go, hey, but how you been doing today? Hey man, let me tell you, I haven't been understanding myself all day today. And that would move you a lot further than talking about what you think the boss did to you. Because talking about what you think the boss did to you, or your mate did to you, or anybody else did to you, that's just taking you deeper into the self-deception, because now you assume the position you don't have, you're judging it. Then it goes on to say, when you judge, you've been deceived in everybody else. He says, then how then could you not be deceived in yourself? If I'm deceived in you, I'm going to be deceived in myself. So if I'm judging, he says that implies a lack of trust. And trust remains the bedrock of our whole thought system. Our whole thought system is supposed to be based on trust. Here's the problem. Most people are trying to trust in themselves instead of trusting in God. And you can, when I say God, I want you to give yourself whatever definition of that makes you feel peace about hearing the word. Because I'm going to say the word God. And I'm not talking about a man in the sky who's arbitrarily kicking butt if your skirt's too short. Anybody that believes at that level, that's okay. They might need it at that level, but that's not the level I'm talking about. I'm talking about whatever created us. And we certainly didn't create ourselves. And obviously what created us has more intelligence than we do. So I'm beginning to get smart, which means I'm trying to develop a relationship with the creative force within me that put me here in the first place, that's in charge of everything that's happening, rather than spending all my time trying to figure out what's going on, hoping I know the right people, hoping I got enough money, hoping I'm going to be liked. I'm sick of that whole process. I'm sick of that whole process of when somebody else speak or act differently, when somebody else do it differently, then I'm going to finally be happy. If it's not cloudy today for Memorial Weekend, I'm going to be happy. I want to let go of all of that kind of judgment, because it's that kind of judgment that keeps us miserable. That's the judgment that keeps us miserable. Every time you open your mouth and say, if this were different, I sure would feel better, you're deceiving yourself. Because every time you think if the thing outside of you needed to be better for you to be okay, you're deceiving yourself, because the thing outside of you needing to change for me to feel better is not true. So just the very statement when I say, honey, if you change, and I sure could be able to really get next to you. No, I'm setting myself up for a lot of needless work. Okay, so when I judge, I'm not trusting, and trust is what everything is based on. He says if the trust goes, your learning goes. Like a person isn't going to try to do something they're learning that they don't trust. It's going to be helpful. So without trust, your learning goes. So I have to trust that if I see what you're doing as a call for love, that I will begin to attract love in my perception and love into my life like I was told from the Course. So if you're going to judge, if you can't help but judge, if you just can't take it, you just got to judge, then say it's love or call for healing. This is either love or call for love. You are called for love. You are called for healing. It's just a call for help. It's just a call for love. You just a call for help. You just a call. You low down call for love. You cheating call for love. You selfish call for love. You broke call for love. Call it a call for love. If you got to judge, call it a call for love. If you got to judge, call it a call for love. If you have to judge, call it a call for God, a call for love, a call for healing, a call for God, a call for love, a call for God. Can you remember that? A call for God, a call for God, a call for love, a call for healing. That person, that boss you upset with is a call for God. The way you feel about it is a call for God. The way the people drive sometimes is a call for God. Right?
Right.
This is very practical. Those of you who believe your thought is creative and your thought creates your reality and your thought makes things happen to you, there's no way that you can get into happiness and peace without using new thoughts. You can't keep using the old thoughts and think you're going to get a new result because you're hearing about the new thoughts. It's going to take actually using them. So that would be simply today, whenever you get upset or get upset at someone or feel bad, say to yourself, this is a call for love. I'm feeling a call for love right now. I'm feeling a call for God right now. I'm feeling a call for healing. I'm telling you, it's the practical application of the ideas that will make the ideas true to you. And they're very simple, because with the Course in Miracles, you don't have to believe what you're saying, so there's no excuse for not using it. Does that make sense to everybody? If you don't have to believe it, then what's to stop you from saying it? Right? And it works. And it says the ideas will show you that they're true. So if I use the idea goes out and shows me that it's true, and then brings back the result to me. The Course calls them love's messengers. You know, like you can send out a messenger of love and you can say, love's messenger, go out there and bring love back to me from everything that you see, feel, or think. And love's messengers will go out into your world and bring back the evidence of love to you. Fear and guilt's messengers do the same thing. So if you're feeling guilty, guilt's messengers go out into the world and they bring you everything that upsets you back to you. Because that's what they do. So now we want to call what kind of messengers? Love messengers, okay? And so what's an easy way to do it? Say it is either love or a call for love. It is either healing or a call for healing. So if you say it is either love or a call for love, it is love or a call for love, it is love but a call for love, what you hearing? Love, love, you see what I'm saying? So thought is created. What we focus on, we manifest, right? So all day long you're hearing love, or come for love, or come for love, or come for love, love, or come for love, God, or come for so what is the vibration you're putting out into your reality? Love. So then all the things that are upsetting you are bringing you love, and everything that's giving you joy is bringing you love. So that means when you're upset, you're going to be calling for love, and when you're feeling good, you're going to be calling for love. But you have to judge it as love or a call for love. Love or a call for love. And when you're feeling bad, and you're beating yourself up, and you're judging yourself, that's your call for love. If you tend to answer somebody else's call for love, but you get just as caught up as they do, and you get just as upset as they are, now both of y'all calling for love. And so you still are gentle with yourself, because in some situations, it would be both of you all calling for love, and you can't answer the call because you're just as upset and lost in your judgments as they are. In that case, both of you are just two big calls for love. And in some cases, it's two big calls for love. Boy, if I listen to this stuff, I'd have to see myself as more innocent. Help me not feel that way. When I wanted to feel guilty, there was always plenty of people to help support that idea. And now that I want to see myself as loving, I'm attracting even more people to me that want to support that idea. Yes?
What is a good path to quit believing that you could solve everything and letting God solve it? I mean, how do you release?
Well, all you have to do to release that is to look honestly at the results of your own teaching. All you have to do is honestly look at the result of you trying to be in control of your life in terms of your constant peace and happiness and joy and fulfillment. It's like, it's not hard to stop doing something when you see that it doesn't work. See, the only reason why a person keeps trying something over and over again is they actually in their mind thinks it's going to work. So the Course teaches that you don't stop somebody from doing something by basically seeing it as bad or good. Or you stop something by telling yourself it doesn't work. That's how you stop something. My anger won't work. My anger won't get me the love that I want. Being dishonest will not get me the peace that I want. Being authentic and not being open about who I am and what I want will not get me what I want. Not allowing myself to develop a relationship with my source will not get me what I want. So if I realize it won't work, I'll automatically stop doing it. But if I say it's guilty or it makes me feel bad or good, then that won't stop me. Think about how many things you have done again that you felt guilty about the first time you did it. And you see guilt does not stop anything. Guilt doesn't stop you from doing anything. What will stop it is to realize the way you've been handling it isn't going to work. Then you'll stop because your mind has already been trained not to do things that don't work. Your mind has already been trained to stop doing things that don't work. So when you say not loving myself doesn't work, then your mind will help you stop feeling like you don't deserve it. Because your mind has already been trained that you should not want to do things that doesn't work. So you're actually working with the way your mind already operates instead of you trying to change your mind. The Course in Miracles won my heart because it was the first book I read that taught me how to change without changing, which I was good at already. So I was automatically being directed to do something I already knew how to do, which was not change. Right? So it says, okay, since you all have a hard time changing, let me tell you, I want you to stop changing. I just want you to become what you really are anyway and recognize what you already are anyway, which is a totally loving being. So you're not changing, you just recognize it. You're not changing, you're just recognizing what you already are. You know, I don't want to be in an insane world where you're afraid to walk down the street. I don't want to be in an insane world where people think it's crazy if you say you want to love everybody instead of just one person. I don't want to be in a world where it feels like I got to obey the laws of economics in order for me to be fed. I don't want to be in a world where people don't even recognize each other and wish each other well, except a few people. I don't want to be in a world where bombs are dropped on people. I don't want to be in a world where there's earthquakes that crush people. I don't want to be in a world that there's any form of fear or any form of pain at all. And so since I know God would never create a world like that, there must be a world we don't see. There must be a world we don't see. There must be a world they don't see, because only an insane creator would create the world that we live in the way that it seems to be. Now, I know if you're totally in denial and just only thinking about your own personal world, it could be easy for you to say, well, that's not true in my world. But you live in something else other than your world. You're in a world bigger than your personal world. And it's going to kick you in your butt if you keep ignoring that fact. Because the love that you are here to give must be extended to everything in this world so that you can experience the love within yourself. Not because you're going to be punished, but because when you extend the love, you receive the love, and your own life becomes harmonious and beautiful. It's not about punishment. It's not going to show up until you allow yourself to become an instrument for the love to come through you, but not from you, because you don't know how to do it, and I don't know how to do it, so we're just trying to get out the way so it can do its own thing through us. It's time for you to resign. It's time for you to give up trying to make yourself happy on your own through using the process of making up fantasies that you like everybody else to help you carry out, which is the world's idea of fantasy, of goal setting. I'm going to come up with a fantasy about what I'd like to experience, and I'm going to see if I can get everyone in my life. Can I manipulate them so that my desire can manifest? It's the way the unconscious mind approaches it. The conscious mind goes, that which created me, that absolutely knows exactly what would bring true fulfillment and happiness in me. What would it take? What would it take for that happiness to show up within me and in my life in ways beyond my wildest imagination through the Holy Spirit? A being that's ready to have answers is always a being that's ready to ask questions. A being that never asks questions is a being that does not really want the answer. So do you ask questions all day, or do you tell God, the universe, what you want to happen the way you want it to happen all day? Or do you ask? Now, if you don't ask as much as you're telling, you're probably somebody that's not experiencing complete fulfillment in your life right now, and maybe even wondering why it's not happening. And the reason why it's not happening is because you assume the position you don't have, which is the judge. You have judged, and that's why you're not happy, rather than asking, what would it take for me to have a loving relationship that I experience complete peace in beyond my wildest imagination? Through the Holy Spirit. And the reason why you say beyond my wildest imagination is you want to give the universe permission to overrule what you think is the best thing for you, so that the answer can come to you the fastest way it can get to you. And in most cases, the solution can get to you the fastest in the way you haven't thought of. And the answer is getting to you the slowest in the way you have thought of, because the way you have thought of is keeping you from hearing the way that Spirit is telling you, because you're looking to hear an answer you've made up instead of an answer that God gives you. How do you know when you're using your solution instead of Spirit's solution? When you're using your solution, you're not satisfied. Is there anybody in here that's gotten to the point in their experience that they're willing to entertain the idea that maybe they're willing at some level to give up their plan? Okay. I want to get clear about that. Okay. If you're going to judge now, in order to let go of your plan and let the good come in, what will you start seeing things as much as you can today as being what? Love or a call for love? Now, did I say you were supposed to answer it?
That's what I was gonna. That's what I always.
No, you can always tell if you're not the one to answer it, because you won't want to. Okay, everybody got the rule.
Yes.
And in most cases, you help people the most when you don't even know you're doing it.
That's right.
You help people the most when you didn't know you were helping them, and some of the ones that's in therapy today are the ones you tried to help. Because you decided they were somebody, you sit up and say, well, I think I'm going to help that person. That's you just getting ready to make, who are you to know what that person needs and that they need your help the way that you are supposed to give it. That's one of the deepest parts of the spiritual path, is when you begin to get out of your ego enough to realize you don't know everything. And that as an adult, you judge things because you're trying to convince yourself that you know what's going on. That's why adults judge so much. They really don't know what's going on. But they try to pretend that they do by judging everything around them, which we call it having our opinions of everything, or opinions of a person. That's really you not wanting to deal with the fact that you really don't know. So you have to make up a meaning. You understand that judgment is just making up a meaning of something? You know, one of the things I make myself most irritated about is when someone tries to tell me what I'm thinking and feeling. I notice I said I make myself irritated about. Notice how I said that. I do. You know, you don't know what I'm thinking or feeling until I tell you really. And so when you don't ask a person, you're judging a person. When you don't ask a person, you're judging a person. When you don't ask a person, you're judging a person. Because if you were not judging, you'd be asking. You'd be asking, what do you think? What do you feel? What do you want? What's up for you right now? How can I support you right now? What's going on in your mind right now? What's your goals right now? How are you feeling about that right now? A person that's conscious is a person that's questioning because they're not judging. Okay, so if you're with someone and they never ask you any questions about anything, what is that telling you? They think they already know everything there is to know about you, or they're listening to their own projections of what they think you are. And then, you know what the part is really cold-blooded? They deal with you as if their projections are true. People judge you and then they deal with you as if the thing they made up about you is true. I know, I've decided Earl is a playboy. So if I see Earl show up at a party with somebody, he's obviously doing his playboy thing. And I'm going to deal with Earl as if he's a playboy. Notice Earl wasn't included in any part of all of that. So you change your perception and your ego and somebody else's ego just as much by thinking about them as it does when you have physical interaction with them. You change your mind about people just by what you tell yourself about them. You're constantly making up egos for everybody in your life. You've given everybody in your life a personality and a role, and you judge them as if the role you've given them is really the role that they're playing and the role themselves have chosen. You know? So judging is the thing that keeps the problem going. And it says, what happens if you're not judging? I love that. It said, what happens if you're not judging? Well, the Course says, well, if you're not judging, all things are equally acceptable. If I'm not judging, all things are equally acceptable. Like if I'm not judging anything that's happening right now, everything that's happening right now is happening right now and it's okay. Well, in other words, what is. That's deep. Yeah.
But how do you even get there when, I mean, if I stopped judging, I would be like in a meditative state where nothing was going on. And there's so much in the world that makes me uncomfortable that...
And why is it making you uncomfortable? Because of your judgment.
Okay, but I'm still uncomfortable, and it's just not.
Well, see, you got to understand. When you say okay, but you just practicing, entertaining, hearing the idea. It has nothing to do with you except that is true. Because the minute hold on, let me answer. The minute you really apply the truth to a situation, your state of mind changes. Until that point, you thought about it, practiced, thought you were going to do it, saying the words in your mind, but you haven't actually applied the truth yet. You know, the first thing you got to realize is you can't change the world. You can't change the world. You can't change the world. You'll never change the world. Why is it that all the millions of people that's lived before has never been able to change the world, but you think you will? What's so special about you that you can change the world? You can't change the world. Nobody in this room can change the world. We'll never change the world. We'll never change the world. We'll never change the world. The best you can do is change your perception of the world. You can only change the way you interpret the world, the way you look at the world. You cannot change the world. You're not the one that's going to do it. Nobody's done it before you. You know you're not the one to do it because it's a hard time for you to get to the cleaners on time. And it's a hard time for you to get your clothes pressed all the time. And sometimes it's hard for you to get to work on time. Sometimes you're not the one that's supposed to do it. Your job is to look at it differently. Your job is to learn new ways of looking at it. Your job is to be taught new ways of looking at it without you making it up yourself. That's it. I'm going to go further. Hold it, because I don't want to do this back and forth thing for the rest of the day. I'm going to come back in a minute. Okay, because the truth is, forget everything that I've said today other than this. You're not a judge. It's not your job to judge.
Right.
Everything, if you got to judge, call it love or call for love. If you stop judging, you won't be upset. Because if you're not judging it, everything is equally acceptable. You didn't create nobody, including yourself, and you're not responsible for the world. Your job is to correct your perception so that you can be a channel for the love of God to come into the world and kill your perception and your mind. Because the only thing that's causing any problem, the only thing that's causing any problem, the only thing that's causing any problem in your life right now is in your mind. It's in your mind. Everything that's making you unhappy is in your mind. It's not in the world. It's not in the world. It's in your mind. It's your mind that determines how you feel. It's your thoughts that determine how you feel. Everything that's bugging you is in your mind. In your mind. So the only place you can correct it is in your mind, because God wouldn't put the answer where the problem isn't. So if the problem is in your mind, the answer is in your mind, and that's why you haven't been able to find the answer in the world, because the answer isn't in the world. Haven't you noticed? That's what, you know what I'm saying? It's like when this book says, you know, there's nothing harder. He says nothing harder for a mind that's in fear and twisted in its thoughts to recognize than the obvious. So the more I am lost in my ego, the less I can see the obvious. So what's the obvious? The obvious is I'm not the one to judge you. I'm not the one to judge you. I don't know what's best for you. That's obvious. What's obvious? You can't change the world. That's obvious. What can you do? You can change your perception of the world. And guess what? When you change your perception of the world will change. But it ain't changing without that intermediary step, which is you changing your mind. We can't leave that step out, folks. It's like everybody wants the healing of the world without changing their mind, and they're trying to change the world. And I don't know about you, but it makes me feel relaxed to think that I don't need to try to change the world. It makes me feel relaxed to say, I don't really know what's best for all of you. I didn't create you, so I think that which created you probably knows what's best for you and can show you. I don't know about you, but that feels like, that's how you can tell when you're getting an answer from God. You go, you feel relaxed. He said, the Course said your chest kind of lightens, and you go, But when you listen to an answer that's coming from your ego, if you listen to an answer that you are making up, if you listen to an answer that's coming from your mind, you feel heavy, disoriented, confused, angry, depressed, insecure. And the book said, well, that's obviously not a thought of God. You think the depression is coming from the higher consciousness of the universe? Do you think spirit is behind your upset? Of course not. It's my judgment. It's my judgment. Yes, but. Yes, but. Yes, but. Yes, but. Yes, but. Yes, but. You know what yes, but is? What? Forget everything you just said. The but is always discount everything that was just said before the but. Yeah. Whatever says, everybody says, I agree with that, but erase before the but. Okay? All right? And I'd like you to ask yourself, who's asking the question? Is who's asking the question the part of you that wants to side with the idea that you can be helped and you can be loved, or is the part of you asking the question that's trying to find a flaw in the idea that you can be loved and you can be helped? Because that's the only thing that's being said, is how you can receive the help you want to receive to have what you want. And it's always going to be easier than anything you think of. That's why it'll work. My ego doesn't want to accept that, though. Because my ego doesn't believe in anything greater than itself. It's hard for a person who has no belief in anything greater than themselves to accept any truth that says they have to treat an invisible power as if it's real. You don't expect people who don't believe in God to actually want to listen to a solution that says have faith. No, when you don't believe in God, you're listening for more information that you can get to apply on your own by yourself to make things happen. So the book works with that. So, okay, If it's something you need to do and you want to do something to be in control, all right, this is what I want you to do. Everything that happens today that upsets you, say it's a call for love. That's your job. Your job is to all day long now say it's either love or a call for love, and then do whatever it is you feel led to do from within yourself. And then do whatever you're led to do from within yourself. After you tell yourself the truth, then go ahead and do your plan. But you got to tell yourself the truth first. The truth is, this is love. I like to say God or call for God, because for me, that when I say call for God, if I say call for love, I'll think of it as something that I have to do. When I say call for God, I immediately believe it's something that God has to do. So I like personally to say it's a call for God, because immediately I relax. But if I go, it's a call for love, and I already don't believe in God, then I'm going to think I'm the one, there's something else for me to do today, and I got enough to do today. Now I got to love everything and everybody I see. It sounds like too much work. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hold grievances against everybody. That gives me an excuse for not having to love or help anybody. So I like grievances, because grievances keep me from having to get actively involved in the lives of others. I'm so mad at them, I'm not going to do nothing for them. So if I forgive you, I might think I need to help you. If I forgive you, I think I might have to go out to lunch with you. But if I hold a grievance, I'll never go out to lunch with you, which I really don't want to do anyway. So actually, I subconsciously want to keep my grievance going as opposed to actually loving you. I'm telling you the games that the mind plays to try to make itself feel like it's really, really innocent, which it ultimately is. But the truth is, nobody's doing anything to me. Yeah. Nobody's doing anything to you. Nobody. Nobody. What about when I was a little kid? Blah, 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 blah. Are you a little kid now? No. Let it go. You're not a little kid now. Let it go. What? Well, how can I let go of that? Well, you won't let go of it as long as you want to suffer. And I'm saying, call your childhood a call for love. Call your childhood a call for God. Call your childhood a call for the truth. Call your childhood it was a call for Him. Make your childhood a prayer. Make your childhood a prayer that will call love to you and happiness to you and joy to you. Say, my childhood was a call for God. And then your whole childhood becomes a prayer, and your prayers are always answered by God. Now, you can try to analyze what happened in your childhood, but that's just a delayed maneuver to keep you from getting the benefits that you could be getting right now. So you can analyze your childhood for as long as you don't want to be happy. Okay, as long as you don't want to be happy, go ahead and analyze your childhood and say what happened because of your mother and your father and your sister and your brother and everything else. That's okay. That's all right. You're innocent. You're innocent if you do that. But don't forget for a second, it's just your attempt to delay your happiness now. It's your attempt to keep your prosperity and abundance from entering your life now, because some part of you still thinks you don't deserve it. And the part of you that thinks it doesn't deserve it is the part of you that will never let you do the simple things that you need to do to have everything done for you. There's just simple things you need to do to have things done for you. But if you don't love yourself, you will never do them. And this is what's cool about love. Love will still give it to you even if you don't think you deserve it. Love will still give it to you even if you don't do it. Love will still give it to you if you hate yourself for the rest of your life. That don't mean everybody else hates you. So when you get ready to stop hating you, you'll see there's a legion of people ready to love you. And when you're not ready to love yourself, you only see the witnesses to the people that criticize and judge you, but they're only there at your request because you don't think you deserve to hear nothing better about yourself. And then you get a chance to say, oh my God, look at what they're doing to me. It's you doing it to you. You just don't want to take no responsibility for it because you want to suffer right now. And I'm saying you don't deserve to suffer. You weren't created by something so stupid that you couldn't be happy until years in the future.
Yeah.
You weren't created by something so stupid that you have to figure out who's going to love you and who's not going to love you and who you can have and who you can't have. And you were not created by God so stupid that it knows that you're here and you think you need sustenance and there's none that can be made available to you. So what's the problem? There is no problem. There's just one problem, it says, and one solution. So what's the one problem? A grievance. What's the one problem? I think I'm separate from my source. What's the one problem? I think I'm separate from God. That's the only problem. That's the only problem you got. You think you're separate from that which created you. And it's scary. And so we're afraid. And fearful people are vicious people. Fearful people are vicious people. Fearful people attack. Fearful people don't trust. Fearful people don't love. Fearful people wait for everybody to prove to them that that person is worthy to receive their dysfunctional love. Wow. I can't even love you, and I'm making you work for the love I can't even give you. And I don't think that's cruel. You know, I don't trust nobody, but I want somebody to fall in love with me. Why in the world should I want anybody to fall in love with a person who don't trust nobody? I shouldn't even want somebody to fall in love with me until I've gotten to the point that I've allowed a healing to happen within me at some level. I shouldn't even want a date unless I'm going to show up without the baggage of all the other dates and other people I've been in relationships before. That the worst thing in the world, the cruelest thing in the world a person could do is jump in another relationship without looking at the thoughts that created the last one that they didn't like, because they're looking for somebody else to make it up for them. I'm not here to make up for what your last partner did to you or didn't do to you. I'm here to be me and you, to be me and you together. You see what I'm talking about? My brother in the back first. He had your hand on. I get passionate, y'all. I can't help it. I just can't talk really light all the time. You know that. You've been around long enough to know that. Yeah.
So, no, go ahead.
Okay. I'm telling you, I tend not to ever answer a question at first, because the Course in Miracles teaches that in most cases, when a question is asked, when there's a roll coming from the truth, is to interrupt the train of thought that's happening right then, because the person's ego feels threatened by what's being said. So you have to go ahead and let the thought complete. And then once you let the thought complete, you go back and you ask. If it's really, really what's coming from the heart and soul and not from the ego, then either the question will be remembered. If it was a trick, the question will be forgotten. And also, you're innocent either way. So I'm not just scared of anybody to ask questions. It's just that I must finish the thoughts that are coming out first, and then come back and share. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm trying to apply what the Course is saying. And if you haven't studied the Course, then sometimes you might misunderstand what I'm doing. You know, but the Course of Miracles works, you all. I ended up over in Amsterdam having the most incredible loving experience that I've ever had in my life, because of obeying the principles of the Course. I get a chance to do this every week with you all, every week, and I've been doing it for 25 years, never missed anything, been taken care of. People have come and go, they come and go, they come and go, they come and go. I still get taken care of constantly. And the only thing that I see that I do that's any different from anybody else is maybe I'm devoted to really doing what this is saying, and studying it and learning it and applying it. That doesn't mean I don't make errors. It doesn't mean I still don't have my lessons. It doesn't mean I don't still go through my stuff. But I would be a lying son of a gun if I stood up here and said that my life isn't easier since I started doing what the Course in Miracles says than it ever was when I was trying to figure it all out on my own and be a metaphysical giant and judge other people and think I was alone out here trying to do it by myself. I'm telling you, that whole idea of letting go of the connection with the source is the biggest error that we as truth students are making. Maybe we went through religious beliefs when we grew up that were really fearful to us and made us feel like we didn't want to deal with that again. But do not throw out the baby with the bathwater. Do not throw out the concept of your Creator just because you don't like the religion you were growing up with or what you're seeing around you. It's going to make you work your can off unnecessarily. You could be helped. There's nothing you're going through. The perfect relationship is already available to you. The perfect career is already available to you. You came here with a path. You came here with a plan. You came here with something to be done that fulfills you, that also takes care of everything else that needs to be done here, and you'll be provided while you do it. It's not the thing you're doing that your heart isn't into. It's not the thing you're doing that you feel tired before you even think about doing it. And nobody's keeping you in those situations but you.
Another question.
Nobody.
Another question now.
Yes.
Living fearless is being connected to God.
You can't even live fearlessly until you feel your connection with God. So if you're fearless, but being fearless doesn't mean being foolish.
Right.
See, a lot of people confuse fearlessness with foolishness. They just go ahead and do something stupid, but they're not afraid to do it. Okay. So then they think it was God's will. And y'all know, y'all get what I'm talking about. If you're truly fearless, you're truly loving. If you're truly fearless, you're truly peaceful. If you're truly fearless, you don't even see any lack around you. If you're truly fearless, you're not looking for a relationship. If you're truly fearless, you are a total channel for the love of God coming into this experience all around you. But pretending that I'm not afraid to do something in the physical world is not the same as fearless. Fearless is an awareness of your oneness with God. So that's why I implore you, if you have thrown out the idea of a higher power because of your upbringing and what you've gone through in the past, you're making a mistake. Not in terms of letting go of fearful concepts. That's great. But don't be a person who feels like you have to do everything on your own, because you can't. Ask for things you can't do on your own. Ask for things you can't do alone, and then you will not be alone. When you try to do something that you can't do alone, that is a request for help. But everything you think you can do by yourself, and you insist on doing by yourself, you will have to do by yourself, because what you think is what your reality gives you. Does that make sense to everybody? And what are adults taught? To do everything autonomously, self-sufficiently, not reaching out and cooperating or collaborating with anybody else. That makes you a really good adult. And then people say, well, why am I struggling? You're struggling because you believe you're alone. And that's why we squeeze the life out of our special love relationships. That's why we put unbelievable demands on the people we form relationships with. Because we think we're alone, and if I can just get 1 or 2 relationships where somebody cares about me, then I've done good. I realized when I was sitting, it was a point that I was sitting in a woman's house. It was incredible jazz singer, and she invited me over for dinner, and I was sitting there, and I was receiving such love. I had been receiving so much love, just like I do here when I was there. I'm not bragging. I'm just sharing the results of doing this. I don't think people are going to do something they don't see how it's working for nobody, okay? Because that's what's the coolest part about the Course in Miracles, is that it's taught me that God loves each of us equally, and each of us have an equal access to everything that will awaken us and bring us what we want. Nobody is more loved than anybody else. There's nothing that anybody is receiving that you can't receive. I'm telling you. There's nobody in the universe that's loved more than you or less than you by that which created us. We do that, and so we project it onto our Creator. We pick out people that we think we love and people that we think we aren't. We are the ones that do the special love, not our Creator. Not our Creator. I'm counting on that. I'm counting on that God doesn't play favorites. What she does is not play favorites.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I know why love in my world doesn't seem to work, because there's no love in my world that reflects the love of God. The love in my world reflects specialness. It's given out, not given out. Given out, taken back. Certain people get it, certain people don't get it. That's not love. That's not love. That's not, what we do isn't love. It's specialness. That's not love. But specialness can be the way you start to learn what love really is and let it come into your life. If you have chosen special people to care about, they are the first ones to apply the real deal to. That's the beauty of having them in your life, is that if you can love them, you can love anybody. The Course says, if you can love the person you're in a special relationship with, then everybody else in the world is a cinch.
Right.
And I said, what? Yeah, because the person you form a special relationship with is the main one you'll be tempted not to practice real love with. That'll be your first person that you'll be tempted to control and to limit what they do for your own purposes. So if I can love the person that I say I'm closest to, if I can support them, free them, nurture them, support them in who they are, not try to make them feel guilty about everything they do or don't do, if I can do it with that person, the one that I say I care about more than anybody, everybody else is a cinch, because I'm already letting them be. So the people who are the closest to me are the last ones I need to learn how to let be, and everybody else in the world is covered. So why would that be hard? Why would it be hard for somebody to say to you, well, the person that's the most special to you, that's the person that's been assigned to you for you to practice real love with. You say you love them, don't you? Then this assignment should actually be pleasurable. Because I just asked you to practice love with the person you claim is so special to you. If I love you, why do I feel resistance if a book says, love her? It's only hard if I don't. It's only hard to love people that you don't. It's not hard to love people that you do. So we'll say, I love you, but it's hard. No, I'm fearing you, and it's hard. I'm judging you, and it's hard. No, I'm not loving you, and it's hard. So what do you start doing? You start populating your life with people that you care about, people that you appreciate, people that you don't feel like it's a sacrifice to be kind and loving to, as much as you possibly can. Because there's only about 9 to 10 people that's usually the special people anyway. Most people's worlds are made up of less than 10 people. Did you know that? Most people's worlds that they're judging their whole life by is usually based on 10 people in a job. And that's what they're judging their whole life by. My bank account isn't good. My mate, I'm having a hard time with them. And so they fight their whole life. You know what I'm saying? When you were to think about it, the people that you see as causing any pain to you, there's not a lot of them. There's not a lot of people causing you pain. Sorry, there's probably less than 10 in your perception. Be with that for a minute. Be with that for a minute. Think about it for a minute. Everything that you're not letting yourself feel happy about today, anything you're telling yourself to keep you from being grateful for this beautiful day we have today, it's probably less than 10 things that you probably had for 10 years in various forms. The same relationship problem you've been having since you were 15 years old. The same pattern. Same financial pattern you've had since you were 15. It just changed people. It's the same thing. It's less than 10. How do you see it? Well, first of all, see it as your call for God. See it as your call for love. See it as your call for help. Love yourself enough to ask without analyzing. Stop analyzing. Ask. Your analyzation will never, ever work because you're still implying it's up to you to do it. That's what it's all about. Trying to make yourself think it's up to you to do it. It's not up to you to do it. You have help. You have help. Invisible help that's waiting for you to stop. 1 second, Raj. Earl Purdy. Waiting for you to stop analyzing, thinking you know. Stop judging. See what you do as a call for love. You are innocent. You need to believe in God. You need to open yourself up. You need to stop thinking you need to do it all by yourself. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Everything you say somebody else should be doing, you should stop right in the middle of that sentence and reverse it and go, I'm the one that needs to be more unselfish. I'm the one who needs to be more giving. I'm the one who needs to be more loving. I'm the one who needs to study. I'm the one who needs to practice the truth. I'm the one who needs to love myself enough to let myself have a good day. I'm the one. Reverse it. Flip it. My mama don't love me. I don't love my mama. My boss giving me a hard time. I'm giving me a hard time and I'm giving my boss a hard time. That's what conscious being does. They do the reversal on it so that they won't be limited forever. People who want to keep a pattern, they never want to own it. Someone who wants to let it go owns it. Someone who wants to stop a pattern owns it. Someone who wants to have power takes responsibility. Someone who wants to be a victim says it's always somebody else and something else that needs to change. And that's not complex, is it? There's nothing I'm saying that's complex. That's why it's easy to go unconscious when you hear it. That's why it's so easy to go unconscious in the Course in Miracles class. Because you just have to not hear it. If you make it a complicated spiritual path, you can be figuring it out. I got to figure this out. I want to do it, but I got to figure it out. It's really complicated, so I got to figure it. How does this work? But if it's simple, see it as love or a call for love. I don't understand. Yes, but what about, you see what I'm saying? Because the truth is always something you can do right now. If it's the truth, you can do it now. You're capable of doing it now. If it's your ego, it's you saying, I have to do it later. I can see you all as a call for love without believing it. I can call everything love or a call for love without believing it. There's nobody in this room that can't do that. You can say things insincerely. We all know we can say things that we don't really mean yet. There's no excuse for me not to practice the truth that I'm being told. Say I am sustained by the love of God, Earl, and not money, if you want to have money. then you need to know that it's not the money that's taking care of you, Earl, if you want to have the money that you need. Money is an echo of the voice for God. So you want the voice, not the echo. And you can't have the echo without the voice. So I'm trying to have the echo, the money, without the voice, which is God. Or I see God as a genie that I can rub God's belly and it just can produce all the toys that I think I want. And so God is just the manifesting genie of my mind. Not that I'm going to ask God, should I be asking for the thing that I'm telling God to manifest for me? Because I don't really know what's best for me yet. See? Does it make sense? Let me check in with everybody. Is this making sense to those who are, here present, hear me?
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it's good news. It's not bad news. It's only depressing to the part of you that doesn't have a faith in God yet. Right. That's why it's depressing. It's depressing if you think it's another thing you've got to do. Now you're depressed. But you need to get in touch with the fact that maybe your relationship with your Creator isn't really strong in your perception. That would be the greatest thing you could do for yourself today if you walked out and went, my relationship to source sucks. Because I really still think I'm the one that has to do everything. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of all the blocks to the awareness that I am connected to the creative force of the universe that can produce anything that I need in my life. That should be my first priority. If you walk out of here today disoriented and confused, if you walk out of the day saying, well, I'm never going back, that was too intense, that's okay. And if you walk out the day and say, God, I heard him, I think I want to really side with that more, and we're going to see if we can do this together. I'm glad for you too. Because I'm going to be an intense son of a gun this summer. Because I am ready to love.
Me too.
I'm ready to love and to be loved. I'm tired of jiving around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want people to enjoy my class, but it's not here for entertainment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to challenge my own ego. I want to make me mad at what this book is telling me. Why? Because if you don't get your emotions and feelings involved, if there is no inspiration, if there is no feeling, what's going to change?
Right.
You can't do a head trip of the truth. It can't just be an intellectual thing. It's got to be something that your body gets involved in. Your feelings get involved in. I'd rather people walk away mad than walk away not feeling nothing at all. I'd rather people walk away and go, I'm never coming back. At least that's an emotional reaction. But to be dead in your body, not let your body express anything but sleep and unconsciousness and pain, broken into by periods where you think you jogged and hiked and walked. That isn't happiness. That isn't happiness. And you deserve happiness. You deserve love. Somebody act like they like to hear that. Somebody really act like they like to hear that. Now think about that for a moment. Think about the lack of enthusiasm about that idea. And then think about how you want to attract a person to you who is enthusiastic about you and about the connection with you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The energy, hold up, brother. Hold up. Hold up.
Talk about enthusiasm.
I talk about enthusiasm. Hold up just a second, okay? I'm asking for mighty companions.
You got us.
I'm asking for mighty companions.
You got us.
I'm asking for people who have reached their limit.
That's me.
Who have reached their limit in some area of their life. So much so that they are ready to see things differently for real.
Yes.
Now, in the process of being this intense, I don't know what's going to happen with my class. Sometimes when you change, people change with you, or they find someone who fulfills the role you used to fulfill, or you choose out of the relationship. Those are the three things that happen if you want to have a change. Some people will go with you. Some people will need you the way you were. So they'll go look for somebody else who does what you used to do. Then you'll have others that'll move right with you because they're in the same place. And then you're going to have others that come into your experience that you've never seen before. You know what's cool about them? They will have no concept of you until they see you. So however you show up, that's the way they think you are. So you don't have to constantly be having the past come up between you and them like it is with people that you already know. Because sometimes people that you already know, they make it difficult for you to change because they still attempted, just like you are, to see you in terms of the way you used to be. But when you meet new people, they don't have any preconceived notion in that sense. So you get a chance to show up as your authentic self in this moment. That's why it's always cooler that people go and that people come. The new people that come are easier to get along with. The new people that come will be more enthusiastic about you. The new people that come will accept you more for who you are because they don't know nothing else about who you are. So be glad when people go. Be glad when they go, as soon as you can. As soon as you can. Because you may go through some grief at first, but actually you've been blessed tremendously. And then when the new ones show up, they're the ones whose energy most match who you say you are now. So therefore, it's easier for you to be the person you're trying to be because you're not having to deal with their old concepts of who they think you are. And so when you say you're ready to be happy, be open to things changing and rearranging themselves so that you can receive the things you've been asking for.
Yeah.
So yes, if you get serious about this, it's going to seem like there's some disorientation and confusion. Yes, it may seem like a relationship you know you should have let go of 20 years ago fails now. Yes, you may look like you get laid off. You hated that job anyway. So now a new one is getting a chance to come into your experience. So yeah, when you say you want the truth, things are going to change, folks, but mostly it's going to change in you.
Right.
That's where the biggest change is going to take place. Yeah, brother?
Okay, so like you're talking about love and yeah, love and all that stuff, and it's like manna to my ears, man. Like I want it bad, bro. I want it bad, but I'm not there yet, and so I get like impatient with myself because I'm like, I want it now.
Well, that just means that you don't have any faith yet.
Okay.
Because if you had faith that you were going to achieve your goal, it gives you patience instantly. Something that you are sure is going to happen, you have plenty of patience to wait for it arriving. I'm at the bus stop. I'm waiting on the bus. I know the bus is coming in 5 minutes. I'm not waiting impatiently.
So I just need to ask for faith.
Yeah, what you need to ask for is to recognize to be able to recognize what you've already received. Just ask to be able to recognize the love and the peace and the joy. See, it's easier to have something instantaneously that you already have than it is to have something you think you don't have that you're asking for. So most people go after things based on the idea that it's not there. They're going to get the love that's not there. They're going to get the money that's not there, and that's why they never find it, because it's based on the idea that it's not there to begin with. The person who wants to find what they want, they are saying it's already there. I just need to let go of the blocks that keep me from recognizing it. See, that's a different kind of prayer. So the Course says, pray, Chris, to be able to recognize the blessings you already have, the answers you already have, the love you already have, the abundance you already have. Pray the prayer of a being that's awakening. Don't pray the prayer of a being that's asleep, which is, I'm alone, I've got to get it on my own. What is it outside of myself, and who is it outside of myself needs to do something different in order for me to be loved, and I am a victim. That's the thought that produces lack. And all you have to do without even believing it is do this, brother. Every time you're not sure about something, say, decide for me, Holy Spirit. Decide for me, Holy Spirit. Decide for me, voice for God. Decide for me, my Creator. Whatever word will get you just for a second outside of your own ego. Decide for me, universe. I'm unsure. I just met this person last night. Should I pursue this relationship? Decide for me, Holy Spirit. And be aware when you do that, they might disappear.
Right.
Because the decision was made. Because just because you say decide for me, God, that doesn't necessarily mean that what you're asking for is the thing you're going to receive. If you say decide for me, God, then the best thing that might happen to you on earth is that you don't get the thing that you've decided that you should have. So people think of asking for God, asking God always automatically means that they're going to receive what they want. In a sense, it does mean that. Because you are going to receive what you want, which is peace. That's what you really want. But to have peace, you might have to have that relationship gone or that situation changed. So when you say, I want happiness, don't think for a second that that means it's going to come to you the way you think it's going to come, because the way you think it's going to come may be the one thing that will not give you true happiness. But you don't know it. Just like when the little baby has some scissors in their hands and they look so bright and shiny and they want to poke it in their eyes and you say, whoa, no, 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 sorry, but I know it's bright and shiny. See, that's us. I want that man. I want that woman. She's scissors. He's scissors. But you first one is so bright and fine. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for listening to me go off this much, please. Encourage me. Encourage me. Encourage me. Because you're innocent, doggone it. You're innocent. You're innocent. So, voice to each other, and then basically say after that, what did you hear? What did you just hear in that paragraph? What did that paragraph just say? And not make up stuff, but what did it actually say? Which is different now from making up what you think you heard and saying, what did you really see it say? And then apply it to the situation that we think we're going through. And so we'll be like hardcore honest about our egos with each other. We're no mercy. No mercy with each other about the ego. So Anna and I have studied that way, and we laugh and we have fun and we're willing to admit to our own ego. And so anyway, so we started videoing it, and I'm gonna start putting it on online, because what we do is take a section of the course, go through that whole section, and really apply it to whatever it is that we think we're going through, but it applies to everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I just had this experience happen in a relationship. How does that relate to what this paragraph is saying about how to handle that? You know, and I look forward to that, because that's when I started to see the change in my life, was when I began to get honest about my ego. Stop saying I was a nice person. Stop saying that I loved everybody. Stop saying that I knew everything. Stop saying I believed in God. Stop saying I was completely taking responsibility. Admit it, first, I'm not taking any responsibility. I still have a bunch of grievances I need to let go of. My faith in God isn't what it should be. I don't really know how to do relationships completely. I don't really know what true giving and sharing is. It was when I started saying that everything started to change. You know, and that's when spirit started to come into my life and begin to work in my life. When I started telling the truth about my ego, instead of trying to make myself look good and pretend that I'm not feeling what I'm feeling because I'm trying to be this nice person. Like the Course calls it, showing your face of innocence, which is the part of you that thinks it's so kind within a very cruel world. And I would be a really nice person, but you know, if you're a really nice person, people are going to take advantage of you. But I don't attack, but only in self-defense. See, everybody familiar with that face? The Course says all of us make up that face. But up under that face, it's the part that wants to kick butt. It's the part that's mad because of what it's experiencing, and upset because it's not having the kind of life it thinks it wants to have. Or maybe it hasn't let go of that grievance that it had with the mother or the father, whatever, the separation from God. He says, underneath this little nicey face is the face that's angry. And it says, that's the face that the world reflects back to you, that freaks you out because you think you're so nice, wondering why you're going through all this stuff. You're going through all this stuff because of unconscious guilt and fear. Unconscious guilt and fear that you're not willing to admit to or look at yet. Because you think if you look at it, you're going to be killed. You know, you couldn't take it if you really looked at it. And the Course is saying, you know, Holy Spirit uses your eyes. It can see what you see. So if you're ready to have the Spirit of God come in your mind and heal the situation, you got to be willing to look at it in order to let it be healed. You can't keep pretending you don't feel it. Yes. You just have to be able to look at it. Yes, when you're angry, don't pretend to yourself you're not. You tell yourself, you know, I'm making myself feel angry right now. I'm making myself, and that is my call for love. My call for God. That's what it is. Then you let it pass. Because you deserve compassion, a break, love. You didn't do anything. You haven't done anything to anybody. No. No one can do anything to anybody. But you can do it to yourself through somebody. And we've all done that. I decided not to be loved. I create a relationship that gives me hell. I decide I don't deserve to be prosperous. I create a situation where I seem to lose the money that I think I have if I see it as money. I feel guilty. I make myself sick. But I'll say it was the swine flu. The world is neutral. It just brings to you whatever it is you decide you deserve. So instead of spending a lot of time denying you're the creator, spend as much time going, I'm responsible for what I feel. And then you watch the problem be solved in your perception. I promise you, it's all about taking responsibility and not blame. I'm not saying blame yourself. And you can tell when you're blaming yourself. Because if you're blaming yourself, you don't feel peace. If you're taking responsibility, it makes you feel more peaceful and less a victim. If you're blaming you, oh, I did, you're right, Earl. I did that to myself. That's blame. Why? Because it didn't make you feel lighter, stronger, or happier to say that. That's blame. But if you go, wow, man, I've had these relationships and they've been like a real challenge for me, and I can see how I was trying to make myself, I'm responsible for the way that I chose. I'm responsible for that relationship. I'm responsible for what I'm going through. See the difference? I did it to myself. Okay, I did it. So now I'm going to choose something different. That's responsible. Oh my God, I know I did to myself. I shouldn't have put a phone on me, my smartphone. I know I did something wrong. That's blame. See the difference? All right. So taking responsibility is not taking blame. So you're getting ready to go out into the lab. You're getting ready to go out into the lab. It's waiting. It's like nice and sunshiny, so you'll get out there and do the most stuff that you have to take a look at. Just with these pretty days, you can either use it to make so much innocence for yourself or so much guilt, depending on what park you're in. You're all innocent. You're beautiful and you're loved. You're innocent and you're beautiful and you're loved. Even if you don't believe it, it doesn't even matter. That's how cool love is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you too. Love you too. Things are available if you dare.
And hope.
And may the